It just must have been some glitch in the iPhone camera software or something. I don't know. Sorry about that. Well, I've gone back onto my Wi-Fi, which seems to be working better now. The Wi-Fi's got a better bandwidth, so it's allowing a better picture. Beforehand, it was off my hotspot from my other iPhone, so it probably had a lower quality picture. Hey, Jimmy. Because my wife wasn't feeling too clever before, so I told her that I'll be watching in case she needs me. Right, we're up to number 320. We'll go up to 4, and then we'll have a go on the mop. Then we go to 6, and then we start the undercoat. Maybe I'll bend it as well beforehand, just so that you can see the shape, because you probably won't see the last stage tonight. Actually, I haven't had it. I remember upcoming weekend, the traditional bread, and I'd left it rising. I'd completely forgotten to plait it, so I did that instead. Didn't want to keep you guys waiting. There's the bread, which is just, my daughter's just putting it into the oven now. That's one of my jobs at home in the kitchen, is to make the bread. So it's going to be a very late dinner for me. It's 1:45 in the morning now. No, there's no milk that goes in that. That is flour, oil, 1 egg, water, sugar, and a pinch of salt, and yeast, of course. Balk at the cost of some of the pipes. Just get a little bit of an insight into what goes into making one. It's not just wham bam, thank you, man. Am I still suffering? Do you mean from COVID-19? Just taste and smell, still not 100%. I thought it was, but I think it's there, but it's changed a bit. It's had an effect on my taste and smell. But in general terms, am I suffering? I'm a man, of course I'm suffering. Yeah, the vitamin D is on and off. Not as religiously as I did before, I must be honest. I should really keep it up. This is where we're at the moment. Good. Let's be having you. N is vitamin nicotine. It's funny, you know, I used to hate sanding, which is why I got that small little detail sanding wheel with the grits that take me up to 400, because I hated hand sanding. But now it's just, I don't know, as I've developed, it's just, you've got so much more control over the fine a difference. And even though it is a lot of work, what we now it's 10 to. I've been sanding probably must be close to a couple of hours by now. Well, maybe not that long. Maybe an hour and a half. I mean, this video has been on for 12 minutes. The last one was on for about 70 minutes, I think. So yeah. Cold coffee, lovely. I would have relied a lot on the mop to do this fine sanding. Well, not sanding, but polishing. But it really pays dividends for spending a bit more time sanding. Hey TPI, how you doing? Right, so far I haven't touched the rim. So we're going to just give that a once over. Because there's a little bit of residue from the tape on there. My 320. There she be. Yeah, we're doing well, thank you. Alright, well, we're almost ready for the undercoat. I got some of the dark flake. I got a few tins, 3 tins of that to be precise. And Mike Bright Blue sent me a sample of the light one. And I must be honest, I do like the light one better than the dark at this stage. So at the moment I've got about a bowl or 2 left, and that's about it. But plenty more. Right, I'm going to give this a quick blast on the mop and then I'll come back. Just a couple of minutes. I think I'm going to sand the bit first. You saw my face? Oh, you lucky boy. There you go. Special treat, boys and girls. Scallop chin. Well, hello there. Hey Jeffrey, how you doing? Yeah, Paul, definitely knock yourself out. My son was playing around with the logo, but he's a school kid, and what he did was great. But yeah, I would love a logo, a decent logo. I really don't know, Paul. If that's your thing, you get in touch with me and we'll work it out. Give me an idea of what's involved. Yeah, LCS. I'd like to also highlight the fact that it's London made. So LCS bra is London made. That's about it, really. All right, I'm just going on the mop for a minute. I won't deprive you. Okie dokie. This is what we're looking like at the moment. So I'm going to bend the stem and then I will do the undercoat. How long does it take to make a pipe, Serkan? Yes, Mike, I think I would agree with you. The shape on it has really worked out really well. Briar's nice. A few little sand bits here and there, but nothing major. And yeah, it's. I would agree with you. It's one of the better ones. I mean, they're all good, hopefully, but you know, you could progress. You hope you progress. That's what you want in life. One of the ways that I know if I've done a reasonable job is when you twist the stem, if it's very close to lining up, whichever way you twist it. It's not 100%, but it's very close on this pipe. LCS Briars with an S on. LCS Briars and then London Made. I wear 2 gloves for this. It does get very hot. There we are. It's got like a sort of a nice curve there, and it kind of goes up. Okay, so now I just go with a 600 and then I do the stain. I don't go too crazy with the 600. It's really just to reopen the grain. Closed it quite a bit when I was doing it on the mop on the lathe. So it's just really to give it a final bit of smoothness, a bit of a sheen, and just to reopen that. No, I haven't got it anymore, Chad. I think it comes automatically with a PayPal payment. Imagine the person that owns this can watch it being made virtually from beginning to end. And I think the only way it'll last that long is if I smoke it myself. Unless somebody bought it and I sold it on that condition, but... Well, we'll see how it is when it's finished, but yeah, it's certainly on the road to being a 2-star. Late in life? Cheeky little devil. Speak for yourself, TPI. Hokey cokey, fried fish and turkey. Sorry, Dad. An even colder coffee. I'm just sitting here wondering about the stain. I actually ordered a bunch of more stain. It hasn't arrived yet. It's taking quite a bit longer nowadays. So no price as yet. We'll wait till it's finished. We won't count our chickens before they've hatched. But if you want it, I'll give you a discount of 0.5%. How's that? Seeing as you asked so early. Not sure if sense of humour comes across that well, but hopefully it does. Lots of things are beautiful naked, lots of things aren't, and many things are improved with clothing or a covering of some kind. Okay. Chad, you're a riot. Open wide. Yeah, Mike's been. His memories are flooding back. Poor fella. We've all got it to come. It's not thick enough. This is brown on Fiebing's, medium brown. Yeah, it does look a bit red here as well, but it dries brown. Obviously, I don't leave it before it's finished, but as you layer it up, it darkens and richens, and eventually it'll go almost black. And once it gets to that stage, then I leave it. Not again. Alright, are we back? Can you hear me? Cool. Paps and bees. How you doing? The dye evaporates very quickly, and it doesn't always flame when you put a light to it. It's only when there's really a lot of excess on it. So as you keep layering it up, the excess stays longer, it lasts longer because there's so much stain on it already, so it doesn't evaporate as quickly, and then it does flame a little bit more. But I think some of the more sort of I think people like Ian Walker and Mike Billington at Blakemar, I think they mix up their own, with using from original spirit from the powder. So theirs may well have more alcohol content, and theirs flames up a lot better. It is alcohol based, yeah. It's Fiebing's leather dye. Yeah, it doesn't always torch that much. Sometimes it does more than others. Alright, I think we'll leave it there. There we have it. She's a good looking pipe. It's a nice colour, but if I left it like that, it would be a dress pipe, and it would be a shame because it's got some lovely grain. This stuff does evaporate really quickly. But I don't flame the last coat. I let that dry naturally. And yeah, we'll see tomorrow. If I know myself, I'll probably get up, go out on my drive in the morning. We'll see. We shall see. Ready, Chad? You can put your clothes back on now, sir. This bit here, this is what I really like. I like to do this to my pipes if I can. Is where it flares as it reaches the junction. It just aesthetically, I find it very pleasing to the eye. The leading lines into the bowl, it just seems to work. I also try really hard to make a nice sweeping line underneath, so really nice flowing line. Doing that and at the same time sculpting the junction can be challenging, but I find that with sandpaper it makes it a lot easier to do it. This pipe really has worked out on so many levels, thank God. Really happy with it. I have been struggling quite a lot recently with getting the tenons right in the middle, but this one worked out today really nicely, so that was always a good omen. So all being well, barring any and if anyone's interested, do get in touch. If you want to get first dibs, I've got to decide on a price. We shall see. Yes. Yeah, agreed. Please God, we should all get $1.20. I've not heard that saying before, $1.20, but I get it. The bent apple, which bent apple are you talking about, WV? The one with the green stem hasn't sold yet. Yeah, I worked it out, TPI. As they say in Yiddish, bis 120. Just hit refresh, man. So what are you guys all smoking at the moment? I'll stay with you for another few minutes while I enjoy this pipe. Interesting, Mike, when you said, when you were doing the critique of my pipe, talking about off-center, 100% right. I've got quite a few of my pipes which I haven't sold, which, along the way they haven't come out perfect, and they smoke really well. Ahab's Comfort, never heard of that. Yes, WV, I certainly will. I've got to just decide on what that's going to be. It's going to be around the couple of £100 mark. Maybe a bit less. We'll see. What do you think of it, Mike, so far? How many bowls you had since you started it? Since you tried it yesterday? I was pretty impressed with it. It's one of the tins, as you know, that I got from Tim, Wolf Valley Boy, and I was really impressed with it. Initially, I had I think that either a bowl's worth, and it was early on, and I wasn't that impressed, and I never ever tried any of the 4 seasons of that series until Tim did his sale of tobacco, and I bought a couple of those tins. I thought, okay, give it a try. It's really nice. It hasn't got any perique, I don't think. It's just I think it's just got a little topping, hasn't it? Straight Virginia with a bit of a topping, maybe. Yeah, exactly, Mike. I think it's got either a bit of honey or possibly that kind of thing. Straight apple with Maltese Falcon. Haven't smoked that in a while. Really, the casing disappears. That surprises me. Talk about casing not disappearing. Don't know if you watched my first impressions of that Red Caledonian. Wow, what a strong aromatic tobacco. Anybody here tried the... Is it one which is still available? Hey, Mr. Ximba. You gotta risk your life for pizza. Well, I've got some cold chicken wings, which I bunged in the oven earlier on, and I was going to eat. And then I realised that I hadn't done the bread, so that's sitting there waiting for me. I might bung it in the oven again. It's a bit late. It's 10 to 2 now. A 14.9. I don't know that shape. Sometimes when you watch it dry, you can see if you've sanded it well, because usually you'd start to see little creases and sort of almost like facets, but very shallow. But it's really very smooth. Hopefully it'll be really nice and smooth. That is something which I really do like. As I said before, I do like it when it flares into the bowl. It just works for me aesthetically. Having said that, doing it without that also works, which is a little bit bang-esque. I like that as well. I was when I don't know if you noticed, but when I first started getting to this junction when I was sanding earlier on, there was, I'd gone round with a sanding wheel and sort of sculpted out this sort of edge here, and I almost started to do like a bulbous area here, but it just didn't work with this pipe. It wouldn't have made sense. And I'm really pleased that I followed that instinct. Ingo Garb, never heard that name. Every so often I'll see a name on eBay and I'll see the price and I'll think, even on your site, you've got a few names that I've never heard of before. And, even as estate pipes, they're in the thousands. And you've got quite a few which are around the 800-900 mark, names that I've not heard of before. And there are some really, quite a lot of German high-enders that I've never heard of. Have you ever had now your compadre? And has been for many years by now. I find his pipes really quite interesting. They've got this kind of. Now, I was asking you whether you've had any Julius Vez pipe. I find his pipes interesting. They've got a certain unsophisticated look, but it's quite deceptive. Some of them. I just like the idea of having one of those. I think I did email him some time ago. I'll have to try again and see if he'll make a 9mm. Oh, it looks amazing. What are you laughing at? The unsophisticated. I've never seen one firsthand, so I wouldn't be able to say. Uh-oh. Okay, I will. There's also another look to them. Bogniflioli, something like that. I can never pronounce his name. But he's also got quite a strong following. I think he once did the Pipe Collector magazine Pipe of the Year as well, once or twice. Okay, well in that case, I've Got a good eye. Yeah, I've been watching pipes. You know, when I see them on eBay and stuff like that, I've been watching them. I'd like to have one in my I wouldn't call it a collection, but in my possession. There's quite a few that I'd like to just have one, so that I can feel like, you know, I've said this before right in the beginning, that there's a lot of pipe makers that I just like to have one. I'm not like one of these guys that has to have every single shape, every single. You know, when you look at the old guys who collected by brand, like the, you know, Esserman and these kind of guys, where they literally were obsessed by a particular brand. So currently now he's on Costello's, but he has Dunhills as well on the Magnums. But they go for every shape and every type, and they might have 10 or 20 of the same shape. That's not me. You know, I like the idea. I like the romantic idea of having one of the pipe makers that I respect and sort of like their work. I don't need to have loads. Maker that I've actually repeat ordered many times is Ian Walker. I've probably had about 15 of his pipes over the few years. Currently, I've probably got maybe 4 or 5, with one on the way. I really would love to do a tour in Italy of the pipe makers. I really would. Just my the way my life is at the moment, I can't see it happening. I have heard that name, and I've been wanting to get a pipe by what's his name now? Morrison in America. Oh, I forget his name now. I saw his work in a Pipe and Tobacco magazine. I just love the look of his work. I can't remember his name. Morissette, Steve Morissette. That's the one. I really like his work. And I would have loved to have got a Bob Keys Hawk. He contacted me back straight away, and he kind of looked into the possibility of doing me a 9mm Hawkbill, but he came back in the end and said he couldn't do it because of the shape of the stem, which I can understand. The stem and shank. It's such a steep curve. I think ultimately I'll probably have to try and do something like that myself. I mean, you do get some. I mean, you do see some of the Italian ones who do a hawkbill, but it's not a full hawkbill, obviously, because of that curve to get. There you go. You read my mind there, Mike. But it's not. I don't find it that well executed, which is why I haven't bought one so far. For me, with all the exploration that I've done, the nicest implementation of a hawkbill for me is Bob Keys. Stunning. His rustication is also out of this world. I don't know how he does it. It's so uniform. It's just beautiful to look at. This is one good bowl of Orlik Golden Sliced, people. Otherwise, I'd have gone in by now. Just enjoying it. This is one of my early pipes, and I have to say it smokes fantastic. Shaping is not spot on. You can see that side is a little bit too steep compared to that, and but it smokes well. must be honest, I smoked it throughout the winter as well, Mystic Simba. I reckon there must be some slight flavouring to this as well. It's supposed to have a pinch of perique in it, but it wouldn't surprise me if there's a dab of some kind of sweetening in there. Yeah, it's one of those that you can rely on. Took me a while to get the taste of it back after my little spell with COVID. I just couldn't get the flavour, for a few weeks. This pipe will have to wait another day. Finishing that pipe, and maybe just some sort of tweaks on a couple of other pipes that I've already made. But yeah, so Friday and Saturday is a festival, so I won't be doing anything Friday or Saturday, but Saturday night should be back on for London Calling, all being well. Yes, Mr. Simba, it was a relatively mild case, in as much as, thank God, I didn't have to go into hospital. It was not an enjoyable experience, but still nowhere near as bad as some other people. And we have to be thankful for that. Thankfully, it seems to have departed London, and at the moment it's up north. Hopefully they get out of it soon enough. They keep talking about this second wave, and I know there's two schools of thought, especially in America as well, about whether too much is being made of it. No, I haven't had the test as yet. They say that they're sort of making it available to anybody over the age of 5, but so far haven't seen any announcements of how to go about doing that. Good night, Mike. All the best. Give regards to Ben. All the best, everybody. Well, I guess I'll take everybody's cue and say good night as well. Thanks very much for joining, everybody. Ben, Unicorn. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Josh. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Rocking Steady, Mr. Simba. Chad, Flatwater Monty, WV, TPI, Serkan, if you're still there, Boss Hog, Boris the Piper, and everybody else, Jeffrey, if you're still there. Thanks, everybody, for joining. I hope that was interesting and you enjoyed seeing the making of a pipe. I'll catch you on the next one.